In the Crimson Dawn of 2167, SSS-Rank Light Assassin Chen detonated his final holy light with his very life. But upon opening his eyes, he finds not hell, but his college classroom from 10 years ago and a ravenous system hungry for everything. May 16th, 2167, the day history ended. Amidst a sea of fire, a colossal demon tramples the remains of civilization. The final stronghold has crumbled, leaving only a haunting echo. Humanity has fallen. Deep within the ruins, SSS-class assassin Chen lies broken. Blood drips from his shattered body, yet his eyes remain cold and resolute. With a final, ragged breath, he smirks, defying the very fate that crushes him. The catastrophe began years ago with the descent of the demon lords. Lan Yu stands atop a mountain of cinders, his silhouette haunting the burning sky. Under his oppressive gaze, the world of man is reduced to nothing but ash. Lan Yu sneers, mocking the final hope of man. His massive arm smashes down with a bone-crushing crack, shattering the earth. He gapes his monstrous maw, vowing to drain every remaining drop of life essence from the world. A terrifying visage looms close, burning eyes radiating suffocating malice. His voice rasps with predatory greed. Become my food. Transform into my strength. In this absolute darkness, humanity is nothing more than a sacrifice to be devoured. A torrent of crimson destruction swallows everything. Chen watches helplessly as his loved ones vanish, his desperate scream piercing the ruins. No, my little sister. Comrades, masters, loved ones, all stolen away. Standing alone in a blood-red abyss, Chen's boundless grief ignites into a final, lethal resolve. Then I'll take you down with me. He burns his soul to unleash the SSS-Rank final arc light. Golden lightning tearing through the apocalyptic darkness. Bathed in blinding radiance, the invincible demon lord is paralyzed. It roars in terror as the former predator finally becomes the prey under absolute power. As consciousness fades, fragments of warm memories flicker like starlight. With the smiles of his family in mind, Chen plunges into the end without regret. In the endless dark, the sound of shattering crystals rings hollow. Chen's face contorts in agony, his soul consumed by the bitterness of weakness. The enemy's voice pierces the silence like a blade. You all are just an inferior race. The aftershocks of the blast swallow the last light, leaving Chen in deep remorse. If only he could return to the past, before the demon den was found, before the first demon lord appeared. If only he could change it all. A blinding, destructive light turns every symbol of hope into golden dust. It is a visceral despair, watching everything he protected crumble into nothingness. This agonizing loss ignites an eternal fire of rage deep within his soul. Suddenly, a stark light pierces a dim room. Chen's eyes snap open, his pupils glowing with a mysterious crimson hue. Lying on a small bed, he feels the pulse of a young, vibrant body. The gears of fate have begun to turn once more. I'm not dead, he gasps, looking around the infirmary before stumbling toward the window. Seeing the bustling campus and familiar buildings bathed in sunlight, Chen's heart races. He has truly returned to his college days. Chen snaps his eyes open, trembling in disbelief. Hadn't the world ended? Warm sunlight spills across his old desk. It's real. He has truly returned to his university days, 10 years in the past. Before he can catch his breath, a searing pain surges through him. Amidst flickering data waves, a crimson light ignites in his eyes. The glutton's power has fused, and the gears of revenge begin to turn. May 16th, 2157, the day fate is rewritten. Standing alone, Chen's silhouette is heavy with solemnity. He knows that beneath this peaceful campus life lies the fuse that will ignite the world's end. In 3 years, the first demon lord, Wrath, will tear open the gates of hell. As purple vortices of despair consume the sky, the countdown to extinction begins. A nightmare Chen can never forget. One by one, demon lords descend, turning civilization into charred ruins. In that cataclysm, he lost everything. Staring at the shattered fragments of his past, he clenches his fists, vowing to rewrite this tragic end. But now, I've returned. Chen clenches his fists, eyes blazing with a vengeful red glow. He vows to slay the first demon lord, Wrath, and rewrite the script of the apocalypse. This is his one chance to change everything. With the fusion complete, a cold virtual interface flickers before him. Chen stares in shock at his maxed-out stats. This godlike power, resembling a video game cheat, is now flowing through his fingertips. He reaches out to touch the flowing data as complex class paths unfold. In a world where only 1 in 10,000 awakens, this elite university, once the cradle of his nightmares, is now his battlefield for redemption. Haunted by the humiliation of being at the bottom of the school's food chain, Chen's breathing grows heavy. But as he snaps his red eyes open, the interface signals a twist of fate. This time, he is no longer the victim. Lightning assassin, staring at the familiar file, Chen's pupils tremble. Violent lightning erupts around him. He feels the terrifying power that once defined his peak life finally surging through his bones. Golden light envelopes him, a brilliance inheriting past powers. With a face like ice and a heart burning for trial, he must test if this early awakening can withstand his impending revenge. Just as the class change nears its peak, a clumsy shout shatters the tension. Roommate Ma Long bursts in, an E-rank flower chanter unaware that the gears of fate have irrevocably shifted. "You're healed." Ma Long gapes at Chen's vanished wounds. Closing his invisible interface, Chen's eyes flicker with annoyance. The days of being pitted by the weak are over. Seeing Ma Long alive brings a bitter ache. In his past life, this friend died brutally. Now his touch is so real. Finally, Chen realizes he has truly returned with vengeance. Ma Long frets about tomorrow's ranking test, his shadow long in the sunset. Chen looks out the window with a faint, cold smirk. Rankings? Graduation? Merely the first stones to crush beneath his feet. Youthful noise fills the field. Yet Chen moves through the crowd with a heavy heart. He knows these faces could soon be bones. He will not let that agony happen again. From the warm campus to the cold heights, Chen's gaze hardens. He plans his hunt. Before the end arrives, he must kill to rank up. In this world, only strength earns life. A massive beast crumbles in golden light, the sweet lure of power. Yet guilds monopolize everything. Staring at his deceptive LV.01 stats, Chen swears a vow to shatter their rules. In this rigid school, E-rank means being trampled. Ignoring his peers' size, Chen clenches his fists. His confidence ferments in the shadows. These elites have no idea who they face. "Yo, if it isn't the loser brothers." Taunting laughter echoes on the stairs. Gong Chung, the bully who beat Chen countless times, sits above with supreme contempt. The air chokes with hostility. Ma Long trembles, sweat pouring from a fear rooted in years of abuse. The bullies mock their durability like they're playing with prey, a twisted arrogance that snaps Chen's restraint. Ma Long tries to beg for mercy by buying drinks, but Chen holds him back. His red eyes glint with violent light. "You're not wrong," Chen says, his voice like a blade. "They are." Sunlight hits the stairs, but misses the shadows of power. Gong Chung smirks, unaware the soft punching bag before him is now a beast coiled and ready to tear out his throat. This jerk, agony from deep memories wakes up. Chen's breath grows heavy. With a roar of rage, the fuse is lit. This time, he'll show them what true suffering feels like. Violence sinks like a swamp. The despair of drowning and the humiliation of the boot become his fuel. Facing Gong Cheng's twisted grin, Chen's murderous intent is set. It's time to settle the blood debt. The echoes of violence linger in the cold bathroom as the bullies let out sickening sneers. Looking at their unconscious, bloodied victim, they feel only boredom and leave him behind like trash. Ma Long anxiously tries to rouse the weakened Chen, whose eyes burn with sorrow and rage. He realizes that pure evil doesn't just dwell in the demon realm. It's rooted deep within humanity itself. In the darkness, a horned monster with malevolent eyes lets out a twisted growl. The entity known as the Glutton watches from the shadows, its malice spreading like a rising tide. On the sun-drenched court, bullying erupts again. Facing the arrogant provocateurs, Chen steps forward, his cold red eyes radiating undeniable authority. "The ones who should apologize are you." The air warps with rage as the bully Gong Chung erupts in violent green energy. Infuriated by Chen's contempt, his bloodshot eyes burn like a beast preparing for the kill. Bystanders erupt in piercing laughter, eager to see the school's biggest loser crushed once again. Emboldened by his connections, Gong Chung closes in with menacing intent. Gong Cheng's heavy fist tears through the air, but Chen remains hauntingly calm. In a flash of red light, he stops retreating and tears the air apart with a blinding counterattack. Bam! A massive impact erupts on the playground. The once arrogant Gong Chung collapses before absolute power, screaming in pain as he's sent flying, finally tasting the sting of defeat. The crowd falls into a deathly silence, unable to believe their eyes. With his back to them, golden electricity dances on Chen's fingertips as the system's awakening sounds. The hunt begins. Class change complete. The lightning assassin arrives. Blinding bolts surround Chen as his stats surge to terrifying heights. A nearby girl gapes in horror, witnessing the birth of a monster. The pressure of the immortal demon armor causes the temperature to plunge. Chen stands tall amidst the crackling thunder, his every sharp gaze striking primal terror into his enemies' souls. A blur of speed passes as Chen's fist strikes like judgment thunder, shattering enemy defenses. Amidst blinding light and flying debris, the bully's pride is utterly pulverized. Is that really Chen? Gasps of disbelief erupt. With a single punch, the former tyrant is slammed into the wall, leaving only the echo of cracking bone and stunned silence. Gong Chung kneels, gasping for air as blood stains the ground. He is filled with resentment and rage, but mostly a new, paralyzing fear. The boy he once tormented has become a god. A desperate struggle. Gong Chung launches a final, crazed charge, met only by more violent thunder. Golden lightning erupts instantly, swallowing his last resistance and fragile will. You're so weak. Chen's cold voice sounds like it's from the abyss. The energy in his fist shines like a sun, a fate-altering power erupting to declare the king's return. After the devastating storm, Gong Chung lies in a pool of blood like a rag doll. Coughing in agony, only despair remains in his eyes. This is Chen's final settlement for past humiliations. On the chaotic grounds, Chen gazes at the blood on his fingertips with a complex look. Ma Long trembles and recoils. This strange, immense power makes even his old friend shudder. Even at level 1, Chen feels the surging power of gluttony within. This absolute sense of class-defying dominance confirms that in this life, he will no longer be a lamb for slaughter. But why haven't his stats changed? Chen clenches his fist, sensing the dancing lightning. A great mystery arises. This mismatch between raw power and stagnant data hints that the system's true terror is just beginning. Lightning erupts as Chen's surging power freezes the onlookers in terror. Clenched fists trembling with raw energy, he wonders, will the path to strength be the same as before? As the gears of fate accelerate, the dreamweavers behind the scenes gather, dedicated to bringing this grand epic of predation and rebirth to life. A heavy punch shatters the bully's arrogance with a thunderous impact. Standing tall amidst the smoke, Chen has returned to end these past humiliations once and for all. Even though he started it, isn't this enough? Vice President Ling Yu arrives with a playful smile, viewing the chaos as nothing more than a farce among the weak. Chen stares coldly at these so-called arbitrators. He knows that without absolute force to instill true fear, the harassment will never truly end. Bystanders recoil in trembling shock, unable to bridge the gap between this monster and the loser they once knew. Only Ling Yu senses something extraordinary. Back at the dorm, Ma Long frantically shouts about Chen's awakening, only to be met with ridicule. No one believes a bottom feeder can reach the peak overnight. Wake up, Ma Long! The roommate's heartless laughter stings. In this rigid academy, the labels slapped on underachievers are like a death sentence carved into the soul. I'm the only combat class here. Xiangzhou boasts about his flickering flame, seeking petty superiority while oblivious to the true storm brewing beside him. Tomorrow's evaluation will clear everything up. Amidst the mockery, Chen silently hones his edge. A true monster never needs to prove itself to mortals. Energy rages in the E-rank den, illuminating the cold silhouette of President Gong Ting. His sheer pressure symbolizes an insurmountable hierarchy of power. Brother, you have to avenge me. The humiliated Gong Chung bellows in a rage, his distorted face lighting the fuse for a clash between elite awakeners. I'll take care of it. Gong Ting responds with elegant coldness in a lavish restaurant. To him, Chen is just a slightly stronger ant to be crushed at will. The elite's conversation reeks of contempt for the lower tiers. In an era of monopolized resources, common awakeners are never meant to touch the sky of the strong. In the pouring rain, Chen sprints with a 100 kilograms load. Sweat blurs with rain. He knows only a body pushed beyond limits can carry the power to devour gods. The lingering nightmare of 2160. The Demon King wrath destroyed everything. In the rain, Si-chan cradles his sister's cold body, screaming in utter despair. The first objective is to slay wrath. His red eyes flare with vengeance in the dark. The helplessness of the past will become the sharpest God-slaying blade. 3 years until that monster descends. As Si-chan races against time, his screen lights up with the name Xiao Yun, instantly piercing through his cold armor. His sister's lively voice chatters about rent and daily life. Standing in the rain, Si-chan realizes this regained warmth is the only reason he cannot lose. No matter the cost, I will rewrite time. Si-chan hangs up and vanishes into the rain. In this life, he will be the sole judge and executioner. Rain pours, washing away the boy's tears and his weakness. Gripping the phone, he listens to a voice both familiar and distant, his heart heavy with the weight of rebirth. Even if he must descend into hell, he will never turn back. 8 hours since his return, Si-chan pushes his physical limits in the lashing rain. Every stride is a silent scream to grow stronger. Back at the dorm, he steps through the door, signaling the start of his metamorphosis. Warm water cannot thaw his cold resolve. Si-chan examines his young but frail body, the lack of power fueling his anxiety. With guilds monopolizing every resource, he knows his only path lies within the deadly demon dens. The night is cold and oppressive. Si-chan's red eyes flicker in the dark. In a world of elite monopolies, the weak have no chance. What is this glutton's power? As the system glows red, the gears of fate begin to turn. Consciousness plummets into a bloody digital abyss as data flows bind him like chains. A chime echoes, loading complete. Suspended in the void, Si-chan is being reshaped by a violent technological force. The glutton's system awakens. Violent red energy erupts as a monstrous, spiked tail surges toward the sky. Amidst the suffocating pressure, Si-chan feels an unprecedented, forbidden power roaring within him. When Si-chan opens his eyes, he is surrounded by eerie, blood-red waters. Bare-chested and bewildered, he stares at this alien world. Was he not just asleep? This bone-chilling reality is far from a dream. The air reeks of slaughter as Si-chan streaks through flashes of light and energy. Every dive tears through the air with a howl. His combat instincts are fully awakening in this blood-soaked atmosphere. A twisted tower looms on the bloody horizon, radiating sickening malice. Si-chan looks up in shock, sweat trickling down his brow. What is this place? The tower seems to be staring down at him like prey. Low growls shatter the silence. Skeletal gravehounds crawl from the ice, their ghostly blue eyes gleaming with hunger. These E-rank monsters have caught the scent of the living, closing in with the weight of death. Lightning Assassin, class change complete. Lightning wraps around him as Si-chan's gaze turns sharp as a blade. In this unknown dungeon, facing a horde of monsters, he has only one choice: fight and tear through confusion with thunder. Golden lightning sweeps the battlefield. With a sharp crack of bone, the monsters shatter under Si-chan's blade. The thrill of combat blends with system loot notifications. In this slaughterhouse, he feels a long-lost sense of control. Too weak, Si-chan sneers amidst the blood. These monsters are mere chaff before him. The surging experience points confirm the undeniable truth. This is real, and it's the starting point to reclaiming his peak. Golden light envelopes him as he levels up, his strength and speed multiplying. Looking at the soaring stat panel, the thrill of controlling his own destiny makes him tremble. In this world, he truly can grow without limits. All stats +5. Si-chan realizes he's in a private training dungeon. But as he prepares to venture deeper, a massive shadow looms. The ruler of this domain, the Gravehound King. Facing the gaping maw of the Titan beast, Si-chan doesn't flinch. Instead, a fanatical will to fight ignites within him. This is the challenge he craves, the true test of his strength as a lightning assassin. A flash of his blade, and the boss falls. The rush of leveling up again surges through him. Looking at the rich loot in his bag, Si-chan clenches his fist. Even he is stunned by this terrifying rate of growth. A sudden shift. The cold command Devour appears. To his horror, Si-chan finds his body reacting with uncontrollable hunger. The corpse is not just a body. It's a sacrifice for his power. Dread seizes his heart. So this is the true face of Glutton's power. A red vortex gathers in his palm, its terrifying suction threatening to tear the world apart. Red light consumes his eyes as he surrenders to the primal urge to devour. Devour complete. The once mighty boss is transformed into a chilling card. Chen stares in shock at the Gravehound King archive. This god-defying ability to steal skills will be his ultimate trump card to rewrite the future. Chen stares at the glowing card, his pupils constricting in pure shock. He realizes he can actually devour his enemies and transform them into his own classes, a power that defies all logic. A crimson vortex erupts, lightning crackling as the devouring process begins. With relentless force, the enemy is pulled into the abyss, fueling Chen's ascent to absolute power. The power that belonged to the Demon King is now mine. Chen's red eyes gleam with a hint of madness. In this moment, the very fabric of his destiny has been rewritten. In this world, the rules of awakening are absolute. People are granted diverse classes, yet everyone is trapped within a single role, bound by the limits of their natural birth. Rules are meant to be broken. Chen clenches 2 class cards at once. If he can devour endlessly, he will possess infinite classes, leading him to the pinnacle of evolution. But where did this forbidden power originate? Looking at the ominous magic tower wreathed in flames, Chen feels a chill of dread. A grander conspiracy lurks in the shadows. Danger strikes without warning. Space itself distorts as an overwhelming pressure descends. Chen buckles under the weight of it, cold sweat drenching his back in sheer agony. You have finally arrived. In the heart of a distorted dimension, a terrifying silhouette issues a fateful greeting. The heavy rumbling signals the start of a desperate struggle. The embodiment of gluttony stands before him, chilling blue light piercing through a spiked helmet. The oppressive aura is suffocating. This is Chen's greatest rival since rebirth. Despite his past memories, Chen's current D-rank body falters under the brutal assault. He is slammed into the ground, a fierce defiance burning within his clenched fists. Why is an S-rank monster here? Despair creeps in as he faces a creature with total stat dominance. Even more terrifying is the realization. This monster knows his name. A purple blade strikes again, hurling Chen through the air. The enemy could kill him instantly, yet chooses to toy with him, precisely avoiding vitals to break him down repeatedly. Bleeding and gasping for air, Chen's vision blurs. The enemy looks down with cold contempt, waiting for the former assassin to surrender and bow his head in submission. Stay by my side and guard this tower. Facing the tempting offer, the battered Chen lets out a defiant snarl. Even in hell, he will never beg for mercy from anyone. How ungrateful! The enemy's patience snaps, unleashing violent energy. Chen screams in agonizing pain, but even at death's door, his will to resist remains unshakable. Under absolute pressure, Chen's hidden potential ignites. His stats skyrocket as lightning envelopes him. The will to survive, even against the world, triggers a desperate awakening. Submit or be destroyed? The massive purple creature casts a shadow of death. With eyes burning with golden fire, Chen stands tall against the gale. His choice is made. I choose to kill you. Fueled by roaring rage, Chen lunges forward like a golden streak. Ignoring the enemy's mockery, he bets everything on one final, lethal strike. Thunder roars as light and shadow clash. Within the chaotic energy storm, Chen's desperate charge carries a lethal intensity that momentarily shakes even his arrogant opponent. Yet amidst the high-speed clash, Chen's mind turns razor-sharp. He has calculated the pattern, a 0.4-second window before each swing. It is his only chance for victory. A life or death 0.4 seconds. As the massive purple blade tears through the air, Chen flickers like a phantom, dodging by a hair's breadth amidst golden lightning. Seizing the fleeting 0.2-second opening, Chen's gaze sharpens. Power surges into his fist, coiling for a lethal strike that will shatter the silence. The electro blade pierces home, paralyzing the foe instantly. With a roar, Chen activates Godspeed, pushing his body 10 times faster to break through this desperate siege. He lunges toward the last source of light, his only hope. But as he reaches out, the glow vanishes, leaving him drowning in a tide of sudden, chilling despair. That was merely an afterimage. The enemy's cold mockery echoes. Chen's breath hitches as his calm analysis shatters against the wall of cruel reality. As the demonic horns come into focus, Chen's pupils contract. Why does this suffocating, terrifying form overlap so perfectly with the nightmare in his memories? The curtains of the abyss rise as the shadow of demon Lord Lanyu looms. The gears of fate grind faster within the crimson darkness. Impossible. Chen's soul screams. This trembling aura is unmistakable. It belongs to the very monster who ended humanity, Lan Yu. Memories flash back to the final battle, where Lan Yu shifted between classes with divine, crushing authority, a lingering scar on Chen's very soul. Flames roar as destructive energy erupts before his eyes. In that fated match, Chen witnessed firsthand the true meaning of hopelessness. Blood-soaked and battered, Chen roars through the fire. Even against a shifting demon king, his will to resist never flickered out. This is the form. Chen stares at the abyssal fiend. Its hideous silhouette is identical to the nightmare he faced in his dying moments. Is this entire space inside me? Chen gazes at the scarred tower of the otherworld, a purgatory built by the hunger of gluttony itself. You have proven your worth. A massive maw opens in the dark, and the fiend's terrifying, majestic voice acknowledges Chen's right to inherit. The SSS-Rank time rift key floats before him, glowing with a sinister red light, the only tool capable of unlocking the tower and rewriting fate. The system chimes as Chen grips the key, eyes fixed on the towering spire. He must devour the sealed demons and forge their power into his own. Why help me? Chen asks hoarsely. The fiend speaks of a slaughtered clan, passing the heavy weight of vengeance onto his shoulders. You are the only hope. The demon points toward the spire. All answers and all truths lie buried within that all-consuming tower of darkness. Take my power and seek your vengeance. A torrent of violent energy floods his veins. Amidst the agony, Chen undergoes a total transformation. Chen's pupils tremble in shock. Take your powers. The dark entity unleashes a soul-shaking roar, commanding him to enter the tower of darkness and devour everything. With suffocating pressure, the entity's icy blue eye flares. It screams a warning. The demons in the tower show no mercy. You must conquer them all to stand at the pinnacle. Violent red energy explodes in the darkness as a murderous declaration echoes until you finally devour every single demon king. The massive entity shatters into divine fragments of power. Standing by a sea of blood, Chen accepts the legacy as purple light pulses in his palm. The devouring has begun. Golden light erupts as his level jumps to 10. With a gaze sharp as a blade, the cold touch of the fiendish netherbone confirms this hard-won victory. The abyssal fiend awakens. Carrying the destroyer's will, he vows to make them pay in blood. Suddenly, a spirited shout pierces the indoor silence. Chen bolts upright in bed, gasping for air. The coldness in his red eyes lingers, leaving him momentarily dazed by the sudden shift back to dorm reality. His wounds are miraculously healed. Seeing the SSS-Rank system interface and max stats, he realizes it wasn't a dream. It was the prologue to a massacre. Trying to take my spot as top dog? Confronted by a provocative roommate, Chen calmly adjusts his glasses, a dangerous hint of disdain in his eyes. Outside, a blonde roommate brags about his mid-tier E-rank status, completely unaware of the terrifying fighting spirit radiating from Chen behind him. A massive gap between every tier? Hearing such arrogant talk, Chen lets out a cold smirk. Dihonk? That's merely his starting line. The ranking assessment begins as crowds gather on the field, tension thick in the air. At the end of the hall, new conflicts are already erupting. It's Gong Cheng's minions. Fear spreads like wildfire as students tremble and scramble to avoid the bullies, terrified of being targeted. Chen stands like a god of death mid-street, his icy red gaze freezing the air. The suffocating pressure forces a terrified gasp from the onlookers. Former bullies now bow their heads in submission. Chen savors the shift in power, the absolute reverence that only overwhelming strength can command. Chang Di, a student council officer, arrives with a hypocritical smile, flaunting President Gong Ting's name with the blatant arrogance of the elite. I smell the stench of a loser. Chang Di's expression sours instantly, spitting venomous insults to crush his opponent under the weight of hierarchy. In this rhapsody of power and plunder, more unknown challenges brew in the dark. Join us and witness the assassin's peak of rebirth.